Welcome to the Manufacturing Masters Podcast with your host, Allison DeFord.
Spending a ton of money on a 3 to 5 minute corporate video has become so 10 years ago. And before you think, well, crap, we just did that, did we waste our money? Take a listen to this episode. No, you did not waste your money. However, you're probably not leveraging that spend and that video as much as you could. You are going to get so much information and knowledge today out of this episode with Jeff Long. He is the founder of True Focus Media and a friend of mine in the marketing B2B sphere. He's also an expert on the Manufacturing Masters platform, and he's really good. I call him the movie phone guy. Remember that movie phone guy? But he's more video. He's the video guy in manufacturing. And he helps companies be more efficient and effective, not just in their marketing and sales, but also in their training. He's going to talk about video value bombs. We're going to talk about content multiplication, and we're going to talk about distribution. So effectively, how do you start? How do you get into video? How do you leverage it? And how do you use it to grow sales? So join me in this jam-packed episode with Jeff Long. Everybody, here we grow. Everybody, this guy, you're going to love this episode because today we have with us I like to think of him like, remember Mr. Movie Phone? Like, is he still a thing? Right? I think this guy is Mr. Video for manufacturers. So Jeff Long, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Allison. I'm super excited to be on the podcast here today, talk about video and marketing and everything in between.
And this is a topic that for you listening or watching this, before you hit pause or swipe right because you think, oh, video. Okay, stay with us because Jeff has an amazing way of breaking down why this is important for your business, how to go about doing it, and really how it's going to help you grow sales. So things we all care about, right? And to get started, I want to talk about, I want to throw out two statistics that you share. You're an expert on the Manufacturing Masters platform. And I learned so much from watching the videos that you have on there. And one of the statistics that you share is 73% of people are more likely to make a purchase after watching a video. 73%. Now, the other statistic that I thought was mind-blowing and we can't ignore is the average B2B customer, which is the space where we all live and play. The average B2B customer watches 30 minutes of video before making a purchase. So my question to you listening or watching this, do you even have 30 minutes worth of video online for someone to consume? And my guess would be probably not. And I think that's what we're here to talk about today is what do we do about this and how do we even attack it? And I think the other super important thing that I want to point out, and I know Jeff's going to talk more about this, the majority of your competitors are not taking advantage of this, right? The majority. So you have a huge opportunity. So Jeff, I wanted to jump in. You talk about starting with strategy. Could we talk about that for a minute and let's give people a framework?
Yeah, I think of course strategy is very important, right? And with that, so I've been doing this for 20 years, and so there's I've seen a lot of changes started before YouTube's all that, but most manufacturers when they think of video, they think, well, we need to do a company promo video this year. And then we'll revisit that in like 7 years and maybe do another one. And then we're done, right? And so maybe that's something we could talk about here today even is that's one of the things with strategy is okay, maybe that used to be the effective recommended
Exactly.
dosage, right? 20 years ago. But of course, now with social media and YouTube and other things, and to go back to, those stats you just mentioned, Allison, like people are, they're self-educating on the product before they talk to a salesperson. So, video can help shorten the sales cycle. It
Mhm.
can help it be more effective. It can weed out people that maybe it's not a good fit for. And so, yeah,
Exactly.
it all starts with strategy. What do we actually want to do to accomplish? What's the end goal?
Exactly. And something else that you bring up in your videos, and not just on the platform, but you're very active on LinkedIn too. So anybody that's not already following Jeff on LinkedIn, please do so. You'll learn a ton. You talk about in the strategy, it's important to know who it is that you're trying to be of service to. So think of these videos, this content that's going to be created, as a giving, nurturing tool rather than a selling tool.
Yeah.
And I think that's important too. A lot of times we think of these as like, oh, it's an advertisement.
Right. Right. And I think another common, I hate to use the word problem, but another thing I see a lot is companies, and this even happens when we're like writing website copy or strategizing on like web design, but we'll take it on the video side, is they think, hey, we work with aerospace and automotive and this and that industry, and they try to make one video or one marketing push or one campaign to hit them all, right? Yeah, it doesn't work. And then they're upset, confused, whatever, when it doesn't work. But yet we're trying to talk to everybody. And because of that, we're really talking to nobody. So, again, back to the strategy piece that you brought up, it's like, who exactly are we talking to? Could we niche down so far that we're talking to one industry, one department, one whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can create multiple pieces of content for different, customer avatars and things like that, as you're looking to create additional content for different additional industries, departments, and products and things like that.
Yes. And something that you talk about, I want you to share a little bit more about a video value bomb. Like, tell the person listening, what is that and why should they take advantage of something like that?
Yeah. So video value bombs, right? Near and dear to my heart. It started with looking back at my career and what's been effective, what opportunities there are, and looking at manufacturers. And, I just found that a lot of them are like our friend Kurt Anderson says, they're the best kept secret, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, yeah. And so, and then the other side of that is, Allison, I quote you all the time, and I always give you credit. Most companies have too much we on their website in their marketing, right? It's all
Right.
talking about, we do this, we do that.
Yes.
So, got my wheels spinning. I kind of have this engineering entrepreneurial mind. So I'm like, how can I, what could I create that would help manufacturers as they're trying to sell more effectively? And so, again, most companies used to think we need to create a company promo video and that's it. And while that's a great tool to have in the tool belt, it's not the only one. And so, as you and I know, content marketing is becoming key. And I say content marketing is key, but video is king. And so then, just thinking about what would be helpful. Well, if you talk with sales, they have a system and a strategy and a process. So maybe we could follow some of those same steps. So video value bombs is three steps, right? It's the content roadmap. So whether we're working with the sales department to replicate some of their success, talking to marketing, talking to other experts in the company. But anyway, we create a content roadmap for them, and we customize it, of course, based on the company and their avatars and industries and things like that. And it's video as the foundation. But step two is we multiply that content. So we take the video content and we create articles, we create graphics and things of those natures, so that number three, it can help with the distribution. Where do we put all this content, right? So we have a list of 40 plus different places we can post and repost this content whether it's monthly, quarterly, etc., so that going back to those stats you read a few minutes ago, when people are doing their research, when they're watching 30 minutes or more of content before making a buying decision, now they have that information in their hands. And with video value bombs, it's very customer centric. So we go back to the wee quote and comment that you always make is, do you have too much wee speak? No, it's customer focused. What do they need to know? What problems are they trying to solve? What solutions are they looking for? And then let's create, supplemental content that will help your salespeople be more efficient, answer questions that maybe your engineers or your customer service people get all the time. So it really helps a myriad of departments.
Well, like our buddy Greg Mischio always says, it helps people know you, like you, and trust you way before they ever decide to make that purchase. And I think the other important thing to talk about here or to bring up is that these aren't just video interruption bombs.
Right.
Word value, that's the key. And you're providing value, I always say, before, during, and after purchase. That makes sales easier, but then it also leads to that nurturing that a lot of companies forget to do after the sale. Because this is about building a long-term relationship, not just a one-off sale. And I want you to talk a little bit more about content multiplication. I first heard Gary Vaynerchuk talk about turning one piece of content into 30 different conversations. This was several years ago, and I was like, oh my God, that is right. And then I love the way you call it content multiplication. So maybe you can share with our listeners, what does that look like? You started touching on it a minute ago, but I want to get into it a little bit more. So if I'm a manufacturer listening to this and I say, okay, I don't even know what that means, what are they talking about? Content multiplication.
Good question. Yeah. So let me go back a step to that content roadmap. And we do it differently based on the strengths of different companies. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So one company we work with, they're a software as a service company that works with manufacturing and industrial. Their marketing person was actually really good at writing articles, scripting, and things like that. So he would come to these virtual video shoots. And for the most part, we do this all virtually. We can do it in person, but it just depends. So anyway, he would come to these virtual video recordings ready to go with a script. He knows what he wants to do, and he would nail it. And he was one of the best people I've ever seen at actually having a script and performing it or reading it without even it looking like he's reading a script. He was phenomenal. Other people, if we're working with maybe the engineering people or something where they have a lot of knowledge in their head, but it's kind of hard to get that out sometimes, right? So we might have more of a Q&A type style interview, almost like this podcast where we're interviewing them, asking different leading questions. And then from there, we're taking the gold from that interview. And, let's say there's a 30, 60-minute interview. Yeah, we're taking out the gold and we have enough content for the whole month. So that video content is the foundation. From each piece of video, we can write, a full article or a mini article. We can pull out different quotes and create quote graphics. So now you have, video, you have copy that you can read, you can have graphics, can even pull out the audio and create some, audio material from that as well. So it's a multimedia type of things that we're using just from, one interview, one sit down with this person. And then you do that times, every month with different people or the same person. It doesn't really matter. And now you have this huge snowball of material and content and customer centric material that's Google friendly, that, your salespeople love, your distributors love, all this stuff. It's kind of the easy button because so many manufacturers, I talk with the marketing departments and their hair is on fire because they're trying to do paid ads, SEO, content, video, all this stuff. And it's and so we can kind of take that, simplify it, and use our system to make it easier for them.
Yes, and you bring up a great point because I think we both know that the majority of manufacturers in the US, for example, are small businesses.
Right.
So 20 employees or less. So let's say that I think this is a lot easier if you have a marketing person on your team or you're working with an outside agency or consultant. Let's say that you are the lone wolf and you're running the show and you don't have marketing people in-house. This is an amazing and effective solution, especially for someone like that, right? Because their thought is, I don't have the time, I don't know how to do this, and I'm not really sure how it's going to work. So I'm just going to ignore it and keep running my business. And that's what I see happen all the time, where if they find someone like you, and I think that's the cool thing, is that you help them take this one thing that you create, right? You can literally have a 30 to 60 minute video conversation with them or one of their subject matter experts, right? One of their people on their team once a month, and turn that into a full month's worth of value to help make sales easier.
Yeah.
That's the way they could look at it.
Totally. And like you said, the goal is to help make sales easier, right? We're not doing this to, I don't know, pat ourselves in the back or stroke our ego or it's like, because I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm kind of right in the middle of, people that love to be on social, people that hate it. I'm kind of in the middle, right? It's a necessary evil. Some people, again, love it. But it's pretty awesome when I go to different trade shows or different things. I don't love being on camera, but I practice what I preach. I put video content out there, and people run into me and know me, and it's kind of a cool thing. Even though I don't get up thinking I want more people to know me, but we're all in sales, right? Even people that maybe they're engineering, like we're selling ourselves and our expertise and our services, whether you work inside a company or whatever.
Yeah.
So, even to these small companies, the more people that know you, again, the Kurt Anderson book, Stop Being the Best Kept Secret.
Yes.
People got to know you. They got to know, like, and trust you. Video content, to me, based on the analytics, is one of the best ways to do that.
Well, first of all, I want to say, we're going to back it on up for a minute. I want you to say a truth. Speak your truth. I will speak mine as well. We will admit, because I think most people look out at everyone on social media or online, let's just say, that are on video. And they think, well, that's really easy for them. They like it. And I think what you and I are here today to speak our truth and say, no, it is uncomfortable for me. I don't like it. And you just said the same thing. So you're the video guy.
Yep.
Same thing with Darren Mitchell, right? The founder of Manufacturing Masters. He grew his business to a $50 million business before selling it. And a good portion of his marketing were self-made videos. People watch him online and think, he is so good at that. The truth is, he hates it. He hates being on video. He's uncomfortable as hell. And I think that this is something that we should bring up to somebody who's tuning into this. And they say, oh, well, that's me. I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be on video. Does it have to be me?
And like you mentioned, even before we hit record here, Allison, you and I were talking, I was like, I don't love being on video. It's normal to have anxiety, to hate being on video. You name it, that's the norm. To me, the outliers are the ones that love it. And that's fine if you do love it. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Here's the trick. Here's what I have to do to kind of trick myself into being like cool with it is, first of all, I love teaching. I love giving value. I love serving and helping. So when I change my mind from like this pressure, this stress of I've got to say the words right, I've got to do this and that, to, stress of perfection, to I just want to help somebody. Like if I can I don't know, help their day be easier, help their marketing, their sales be more effective. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. And then I kind of get
Yes.
excited. And then I'm like, well, shoot, I'm an expert in what I know. And yeah, I'm not the ultimate expert in the whole wide world, but like compared to most of the population, I know more. And that's how everybody is, right? You know more than most of the people watching. And that's all you need to know. You don't have to know everything,
Right.
just more or something, just one thing more or better than your target audience, and you'll be fine. And that's the beauty of editing too, right? We can edit out the oopsies and the ums and the ahs and
And
the
yeah.
totally. So we all get that anxiety. We all feel the pressure. But if you can lower it by teaching, by helping, by serving, by educating, then most people are a lot more at ease.
Well, God, there's a couple things we need to pull out of what you just said. Okay. So one, we all get caught up in imposter syndrome. So let's just call a spade, and then set that aside for a minute and understand or remember, if you've got, a decade or more worth of experience, most likely you're some form of an expert. You don't have to be the end all be all of the universe, like you said. But if you have some value to share, so I think that's the first thing to recognize. Number two, I think sometimes we get caught up in this very vain social media world with a lot of influencers and whatnot. People are going to be picking apart what I look like, if I have makeup on or not, if I'm a woman or man, whatever your thing is. They'll be looking at my hair. They'll be listening to my voice. They're looking at my background. It's not perfect. I don't have good lighting. People listen to what you're saying, and they remember that you helped them, that you gave them value. That for me is what, one of the things I had to get over is, I don't like seeing myself on camera. I don't like hearing my voice per se. And I had to do what you said. Every single time I record, I do a mindset reset. Thank you, Mel Robbins. And I think what I set an intention, and I think, what value can I bring and can I pull out of the person that I'm talking to that will make a difference for the person that consumes it. And it changes everything. Then you just stop worrying about yourself and focus on the person, right, that you're trying to be of service to. Changes everything. And that's what's most important. And the other thing that I think I want to pull out of what you said is, it doesn't have to be you per se. There are some people in your company that with a professional like yourself, you can pull out the good stuff from, say, any of your engineers sitting in the back room or your quality control person. These people know their craft and they have so much knowledge, but unfortunately it stays right in there.
Yeah.
So pull that out of them. It doesn't have to be you. And like you said with Kurt Anderson's book, Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. Stop taking for granted, you manufacturers, what it is that you do, and that it's not special or different, because it is. No one else has your story. And I think that's what's beautiful about video and about someone like yourself is you can pull that story out of them.
Yeah.
And bring it to the people who will care, because you're not trying to share this with the world. You're trying to share with a very specific someone, and make it consumable. So I don't know. You want to tack on anything to that?
Yeah. A couple of, totally. I look at my, the agency I have, we're kind of like I'm like holding the bullhorn in front of somebody so their message can be proclaimed, right? Not in a shouting way, of course, but like, and that's really what we're trying to do here is, help others succeed, help others tell their story, right? We have experts in our businesses, and yeah, they might be shy. They might rather be, making something or behind a computer or whatever, but a lot of people like that recognition down deep, even though they don't love being on camera. They kind of like being recognized as an expert. So, for somebody that's constantly growing or trying new things, or they've done a really cool project or something like that, by highlighting them and that story, we can help them feel feel better about themselves, showcase their expertise. And then on the customer side of things, they can see that case study or that that topic the person's talking about. So yeah, that is, a lot of times when we're doing videos of any type, a lot of times people are getting voluntold, right? Like, hey, Jim, you're going to be on camera doing this, or, hey, Mary,
I love
tomorrow
that.
at noon, you're on camera. It's like, what? Okay. But again, unfortunately, for better, for worse, in today's, market, we really have to, educate more. We have to showcase our expertise and demonstrate our products and talk about, industry trends and stats and where things are going. And that gets more eyeballs, of our ideal customers. And that helps, again, back to those stats you recommend, or you said at the beginning of, somebody will watch 30 minutes of video content before, making a buying decision.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked the question I love to ask too. Does your company have 30 minutes or more of video content that's applicable, to a given product or industry or application or whatever that might be?
Well, what's ironic too is in talking about salespeople, I get, and you probably hear this as well, salespeople will say, like Greg Michio, right? He talks about the digital twin, creating a digital twin of your sales team. And I've had salespeople reach out and say, whoa, you think you're going to replicate me and make me a little avatar? And it's like, whoa, that's not what this does. It's the exact opposite. And the reason I point this out is with video, think about how many manufacturers could get some video shot of their salesperson. If you're small, you maybe have one guy or gal. Maybe you have a couple salespeople. If you could video little snippets of the wisdom that they have, the most common questions that they get asked, of them answering, and share this online on a YouTube channel, on your website, through email, through social media. I always say you're helping them sell and be of service while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Because as a human being, you can only be so many places at once. So this is actually an incredibly effective tool to help your sales team with that like digital twin idea, that they could send these video snippets in a little email series to a prospective customer, right? And it's already done for them. They don't have to do anything, just, drop it in. So why don't more manufacturers take advantage of this, do you think?
Yeah, and yeah, totally. It helps the salespeople be more effective, helps distributors have better content, more content, so they're top of mind and things like that. I think some of it's, like most companies, manufacturers are busy, right? They're trying to make their own products more efficient and lean and things like that. But then on their marketing and sales, they're a little less, I don't know, dialed in, or they're relying on old marketing strategies that used to work, and they're not implementing some of the new. So that's some of it as well. And then some of it's they don't maybe know how to do it themselves, or how to do it, hire an agency or whatever. And I do want to be clear, a lot of this video stuff we're talking about, a lot of companies can do it internally, even with their phone, or some of these, technologies that make it simpler, right? So you don't always have to hire an agency or a new marketing person that is the expert in video and things like that, because there is a lot you can do internally in yourself these days, which is fantastic. So yeah, I think more salespeople that catch that vision. And it's exciting to see when I talk with companies that they're actually, hey Jeff, we don't need you. We're doing video, we're knocking it out of the park. I love seeing that too, because that helps just show what other manufacturers maybe need to catch up to, is doing more of this video. And obviously I love video, but it can help with marketing or sales. We haven't even touched on, and we don't have time today to talk about training or HR or safety training, new hire training, certifications, things like that. That again, you can replicate yourself. So 24/7, that person can, if they're in a buying mode, watch the video, or a training mode, they can learn more. Hate to say it, but video can do do a lot, right? It's not going to replace people, but it can streamline things, and it can make things more efficient.
Enhance.
Totally.
Right? It just expands on what you're already doing. And it also turns up the volume, because I think so many manufacturers, I always say this, they're whispering. And if you're whispering, nobody can hear you.
Yeah.
So turn up the volume, but turn it up with something meaningful and valuable.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at our time, and we need to wrap this up, because you and I could go on for days. There's so many things we could cover. So I want to recap. So the days of, let's call it the old school, expensive corporate video, those are gone. You can have that if you want.
Totally. And I think there's a time and a place. So I've seen a lot of success with, high end, high produced, promo videos and things like that. But I think that's not the only option. Like the other side of the coin is the content marketing pieces that we've been talking about for most of this episode.
Well, yeah. And so my thought is this: if most manufacturers are small to mid-size, let's say that let's say they have a budget. They've got $15,000 and they're going to spend it on a corporate video. Or my suggestion is they could spend that money maybe a little differently, a little more wisely, and get a lot more bang for their buck if they did, let's say, a core video that's short about the company, like 60 seconds or less. And you can say, hey, you're whistling out your butt, lady. That's not the right thing. But like the short, call it the overarching piece, but not that 3 to 5 minute long video. Then break it up into all these little pieces and snippets, and spend that money interviewing a couple of your salespeople. Would you agree or disagree that this would be a better use of money today?
Yeah, today. That's what I love. Like that's the new way of doing it, right? It's instead of, hey, let's, $15K on one thing. Well, let's break it into pieces. $15K for 15 things, for 20 things, whatever that might be. You get more ROI. You get more kind of longevity from all those pieces. You can make several, like, almost like with content writing, right? You have these cornerstone pieces. You can have cornerstone videos. And then from that, you have, mini videos that are pulled out or in addition to. So there's a lot of, and that's what I love, is there's a lot of creativity within that. That idea is like, let's do more with the same amount, or sometimes less, or whatever that might be. And you get more bang for the buck.
Absolutely. And what do you say quickly to let's say that there's a marketing manager person, and you recommend to them, okay, you want to share this not just on your website, but you want to share it across social media. And they say, oh, but we just shared that last month. We just shared that 2 weeks ago. What do you say to them?
I mean, I've seen stats. I couldn't pull it out of my head right now about, how Twitter or LinkedIn or some of these other things, there's a short time frame where people are going to see that, and then it's gone. And for better or for worse, that's what it is. So that's where you have to kind of keep dripping that content out, so that people see it. And just like any sale, what is it? It takes 7 or more touches to make a sale. Same thing with marketing and other types of content, right? You have to constantly put it out there. People are going to forget. They're going to get busy, et cetera. So you have to keep putting it out there.
Keep reminding, keep giving that value. And I always tell people, assume they didn't see it the first time or the first 10 times. And this time it's new to them. Yeah. Or it's a reminder. It's like, that looks familiar. And then they actually pay attention this time.
Yeah.
So, okay. You're just a wealth of information. Again, anybody who's watching or listening to this, please connect with Jeff on LinkedIn. DM him if you have any questions about video, or, you're thinking of, we've never embarked on this journey. We have no idea where to start. Jeff is your guy. And I wanted to ask you, put you on the spot for just a second and ask you, what's one thing that you've learned this year when it comes to video and marketing? Is there anything that kind of comes to mind that jumps out at you?
Yeah, a couple things. After 20 years, yeah, there's a lot I've seen. I think some of it is, it, even these small, like you mentioned, the smallish companies, 20 employees, 30, whatever that is, like, to me, the beauty of video, there's opportunities for small companies. I've worked with, big, huge conglomerates. They all need help with different ways, but there's ways to, accomplish it that will fit their needs, right? So what we're going to do, how we're going to serve a smaller company is completely different than how we're going to service a larger company. And so some of the tools we use, whether that's, using platforms kind of like a Zoom for virtual recordings, we use something different, but, or if we're in person. But I think it's constantly learning, it's constantly changing. So we're constantly learning about what's effective, what's working. And so we're changing our strategy, right? That's why this Video Value Bombs thing came about was, hey, I've been doing this for a while now. What else can we do? What else can we learn and grow? So yeah, I'm a lifelong learner. I love, reading books and listening to podcasts like yours and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
So continuously evolving. Well, I can't thank you enough. I'm a huge fan. I appreciate everything that you're bringing to the manufacturing world. And gosh, I just appreciate you spending time with us.
Well, thank you, Allison. I'm honored to be on the podcast, more than you know, and it's been a lot of fun here talking about video, marketing, and everything in between.
Cool. Well, hey, and for you listening or watching this, if you are not already, please subscribe to this podcast and feel free to share it with others so that they know that this is worth tuning into. And if nobody tells you this week, you are seen, heard, and felt, and what you're doing matters. So keep it up. We appreciate you.
If you're not already, subscribe to the Manufacturing Masters podcast on Apple Music or Spotify. And for a deeper dive, head on over to manufacturing-masters.com. It's everything they never taught you in school.